You're watching Access Minnesota. Here's Jim Dubois.
Now back to our conversation with Professor Massoud Amin on smart grid technology. Are power outages becoming more commonplace in the United States?
Yes, unfortunately, for several factors. One is, the main one to begin with, is that we are experiencing more extreme events. Because of climate change, unfortunately, the issue has become too politicized. If we focus on science and on data, I can share with you that for infrastructure, impact of extreme weather on infrastructure has been immense. We used to have 2 to 5 major outages a year caused by weather, by adverse weather. In the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even up to mid-1990s. In mid-1990s, the game changed. All of a sudden, we see an increase over time from 2 to 5 a year. In the last 5 years, 2008 to 2012, and the trend is very clear, we have experienced between 70 to 136 outages per year, major outages caused by weather. It used to be, as a root cause, weather used to be less than 20 to 23% of all major outages in the nation. Unfortunately, now it's between 66% to 73% of all root causes for major outages is caused by weather. So that's one factor. That although the mean temperature in the oceans may go up by half a degree, by 0.6 degree, but the uncertainty, the band of uncertainty, what is called standard deviation, increases dramatically. So we get more severe impacts, and unintended things that are unprecedented show up. And that's what we're experiencing. Second, investment in infrastructure has declined steadily to the point that in 1995 again, the depreciation curve started exceeding investment in the infrastructure. What it means we are over-harvesting. We are milking the cow dry. We are getting more and more out of existing assets without investing into the system. And part of it is regulatory, part of it is public resistance to new lines, part of it is lack of return on investment, and a lot of it is also complacency, lack of leadership. We used to be, according to World Economic Forum, our electric power grid used to be ranked number 1 or 2 back in the 80s. Unfortunately now, in 2011, 2012, World Economic Forum rates our electric infrastructure 34th in the world. For America to be a superpower, to be an economic power, this is really very disturbing. That's something that we take for granted. The electric power network underpins every aspect of our life, everything we use, and is the #1 driver of economic growth. When we look at what drives economic growth, access to affordable, available energy, in particular, cleanest form of energy, the cleanest way to transfer, the energy, and the most clean and efficient way are electrons. And unfortunately, that we have taken that for granted. The system has been balkanized in many ways, and there is a divide between federal jurisdiction over high voltage grid and local jurisdiction, mostly under public utility commissions, on the lower voltage and distribution system, and that kills all innovation at the local level. The third factor that kicks in, investment in research and development in this sector, is the second lowest among all industrial sectors within our economy. We invest less than 0.17 of 1% of net sales back into R&D when it comes to electricity. It's only second lowest. The lowest one is pulp and paper.
In November, Minneapolis voters may have a chance to decide whether or not to maintain existing contracts with Xcel Energy and CenterPoint Energy, or perhaps have the city of Minneapolis start a municipal utility. Do you have any personal opinions about whether or not that might be a good idea?
I know that City Council voted to do a study, a $250,000 study. I would personally propose to them or recommend to them to do the study before they make a decision. These are major decisions, and there is a lot of sunken investment in the existing infrastructure. Sometimes in our, perhaps in our push, in our emotional push to take certain actions, we may miss the real opportunity that there is. And I would engage all stakeholders. I would engage Xcel Energy, Centerpoint, others together with the ratepayers, together with the PUC, together with the City Council, in a non-confrontational way, in a very thinking we are all, as Dr. King said, we may have come on different ships, but we are on the same boat. That's it. We are all on the same boat. So I think we can do great. This is a fantastic state. I'm delighted that this is my home for the last 10 years. I hope for the rest of my life. And I would love to live in a city for the rest of my life that doesn't have outages. And when we are senior citizens, we don't want to be left in the dark. However, I would be very careful on drastic changes such as that. One, we would have been considering a microgrid design, augmenting the system as a microgrid or series of microgrids in twin cities. But that would take the partnership with Xcel, and I would highly recommend that. And then we are going to need a clear path to return on investment. How are they going to recover costs? What are the benefits to the consumers? And what is the future infrastructure we are looking for the next generations?
Massoud Amin is a professor of electrical and computer engineering at the University of Minnesota. Professor Amin, thanks so much for joining us on Access Minnesota.
My pleasure. Thank you. Anytime.
That's all for this month's edition of Access Minnesota. We'll see you again next month. Thanks for watching.
Access Minnesota. Issues that matter to you. Join us again next week as we bring you the newsmakers and stories that shape our everyday lives. Access Minnesota is produced by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association in cooperation with the University of Minnesota's College of Liberal Arts.